Hey everyone, so I got a new tool from Pepe Tools and I wanted to show you it and show you the advantages of this. You're going to be seeing this a lot more in future videos because it really speeds up the whole ring making process, and there's some bezel making that you can do with this that would be really interesting. So let's get started. So this is a ring bender from Pepe Tools. Basically, it's this piece right here that is solid steel, it feels like. It's super heavy. And then all the little posts and dies for them. And then it goes together really simple. I'll just show you real quick with the 22 one. You just set that in there, and you place that in there. And basically, when you pull the lever, it presses down. So just so you know, the number on this represents how many millimeters this is around. See? And then it also comes with these nice little 90-degree ones. So you can make 90-degree bends in your metal to make squares or boxes. Or you can do a 60-degree. Along with that, it came with some, which I thought were nylon, but they're actually a different type of plastic that's stronger than nylon. But these are little pieces so you don't mar up your rings as you're forming them. Because if you use these, it will leave some marks on the outside of your ring, which won't always matter, but you can use these if there's no way that you can get the marks out. Also, these didn't come with numbers on them, so I matched them up and numbered all of them to make it easier to figure out what to use with what pieces. So it also has this, which is replacements for the posts. And the same thing, I wrote on these what they are, and it makes it so they're completely non-marring. So with all that out of the way, let me show you how to set this up, or how I'm going to set this up. Because you can put this in a bench vise and hold it right here, and you're good to go, but I like to just bolt things to my table, so let's do that. So you might notice I have these holes already in my table everywhere, and they have metal inserts inside of them that are threaded. It makes it so I can attach tools to my desk and remove them. So for this particular one, I'm only using 2 of the mounting holes, just because the bolts I use are the same bolts I use for my roller mill and other tools, and the head of this kind of hits back here. When you turn this, it hits it. So I found that you can just put it in the 2 front ones. So there we go. This is all nice and stuck to the table now. So I'm just going to use the number 16 post and the 16 die to show you how this works. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see everything in action. So this is a piece of pretty thin wire. This is square wire, and it's 16 gauge. And if you wanted to make the start of a small ring, you can put this in here, and you can start getting the curve to it. And if you walk it all the way around, you get a full ring. But like I was saying before, if you use the metal on metal one, it will leave marks in your metal. So you can see little indents all through this, which is totally fine because we can cut all that down with polishing and stuff. Rounded like that, I can just cut it right here and solder it together, and we have a ring. You can also, once you do this, figure out what ring size it is to make sure if it's the right size for what you're trying to make. Just use a ring mandrel and slide it down it. And as soon as it starts to have any type of resistance, is about where your ring is going to be. So this one comes out to being a size 7. Maybe a little bit bigger, but you can tighten that up and then solder it. So like I was saying, you can switch this out to the plastic bit, and I'm going to be using something that's much thicker. And this is not annealed or anything yet. This is 2 millimeters thick. And it can bend it that easily. Granted, you can just take a mandrel and wrap this around it and hammer it down using a rawhide mallet or something like that and do the same thing, but it just takes a lot more effort and time. So I'm not going to do any fast forwarding on this. So when it comes to this point, when it looks like kind of an A basically, you have two options. You can just cut through here and then solder that together, or you can grab it and make sure that they are going over the top of one another. Just a little bit, kind of like how jump rings work. So if you do it like this, when they're overlapped, you can technically cut through the center of both of those where they overlap one another, and you'll be able to solder it together because you'll have a clean cut. And everything's already rounded, so you don't have to do the normal D shape that I would normally do trying to make a ring. So that being said, if I take this and put it on here, you notice that it's not at the size 7 like the last one was, because it's a thicker metal, and it's going to take a little bit more force to get it there. So when it's like this, you can actually kind of seat it like this shape, basically, by hitting it with a rawhide mallet. It doesn't take these tools out of the equation, but it makes it a lot faster and easier. There we go. So now it should be at a size 7. And this is ready to cut and solder. So I'll show you real quick how I'm going to cut this so everything's just going to line up for soldering with no real problems. So like I said, you've got to make sure that you have enough room on these that they overlap. So all I'm going to do is make sure that I'm in that area, and I'm going to start on the top band. I'll move my finger in a second so you can see. Just need to get the line started. Alright, so now that I have that line started, I can cut through and start slowly going down with it, so I'm cutting both bands at the same time. So there we go, and now you can take these, and if this is too hard for your hands, or too hard on your hands, anneal this piece, and then you can bend it a lot easier. So there we go. It still has a little bit of a gap there, that you can see if I press it together. But you can use a piece of wire to wrap this to hold these in shape, or you can force them together using a hammer, or you can do this beforehand. So when they're separated like that, push them together a little bit so they overlap, and then pull it down. And there we go. Just make sure they're lined up. So now we can actually solder that together. And your ring will be a little out of shape, but we can fix that easily using the ring bender after this has been turned into a solid ring. So just take your ring and put a little bit of flux on it. I'm just going to take a piece of hard silver solder and line it up to where the joint is and set it on top of it like that. So this makes it so your solder cannot run away or jump off with the heat or anything like that. So you don't have to worry about slowly heating it up or drying off the solder. There we go, it's that easy. So I'm just going to take this, throw it into our pickling solution to clean it up of any tarnish or fire scale that's on it. Alright, so here's that ring out of the pickling solution, and just need to round it up a little bit more, I think. So you can put it on here, make sure that you actually have your piece in, or you'll just damage it. And then do a test fit on your mandrel. And there we go, we're right on our 7. So you can make rings extremely fast using this without really thinking about it, or really measuring if you can remember what sizes make what rings, or make a little chart. So like I said before, they have a 90-degree thing with this too. So if you needed a 90-degree angle in something, you could get that real quick. Granted, you should measure where your marks are supposed to be, but just for demonstration purposes, yeah, you can make boxes really quick using the 90 if you needed to make a box or just needed a 90-degree angle. So there's also a 60-degree that you can use. And you might notice that this is moving on its own. There is a set screw down here that you can set so it doesn't move on you. So now with the set screw, this doesn't move. So that's pretty much it. Like you saw in this video, it makes it really easy to make actual basic ring shapes using this. You could put just about any type of wire or sheet metal into this that is the right size at least, meaning that it can't be a giant sheet like this. But if you have a strip, like something like that, you can easily round this completely into a band in a couple seconds to a minute. This was supplied to me from Pepe Tools, free of charge. They're not paying me to say anything nice about it, and basically everything in this was my own opinions, and I actually really like this. I see a lot of potential for it, and I really wish I had it when I was making the two inset gold rings that I made a couple weeks ago, because those were very difficult to bend into ring shapes, just because one was 14 karat white gold, and that was very hard to work with. And this would have made it a lot easier, but I have it now, so in the future that won't be a problem. If you want to get one of these, go ahead and head over to Pepe Tools. I'll have a link in the description. Use the code MEOW and you will get $30 off your order over $100 on anything on the website. So if you order this, or if you order anything else on the website and it comes up to over $100, you get $30 off using that code. And that helps support the channel too. So there you go. And if you like this video, leave a thumbs up and subscribe. I try to make a new video every week. If you want to see the golden rings I was talking about, you can click on the link right here. And if you want to see a playlist of just other helpful jewelry making techniques, there's a playlist down here. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.